Welcome to a very special deep dive. Today, we're taking a massive stack of insights, secrets, and, well, some hard truths that you've sent in, all about the fascinating world of achieving success and building wealth. This isn't just about the numbers in a bank account, though. It's really about understanding the fundamental mindsets, the strategic actions, and the daily habits that can genuinely transform your life.
Indeed. And we've meticulously, distilled decades of observation and some powerful principles from these diverse sources. Our mission today really is to cut through all the noise, offering you a kind of shortcut to becoming truly well-informed on what it genuinely takes to thrive. We'll uncover some surprising facts, maybe challenge a few common assumptions, and connect the dots, moving from the, let's call it the internal game of mindset, all the way to the external actions that can yield, well, extraordinary results.
All right, let's unpack this journey. We should probably start with section one, the mindset foundation. Basically, how successful people think. And we're kicking things off with a foundational truth, one that many people find incredibly difficult to internalize, taking ownership and responsibility.
This is absolutely where any meaningful transformation begins. The core idea here, according to everything we've looked at, is that sustained success really stems from an unwavering belief in your own personal agency. It's about a deliberate, conscious rejection of any kind of victim mentality and instead, embracing total, unequivocal responsibility for your own life. Our sources are quite blunt about it, actually. They say the world doesn't owe you anything.
Oof, yeah.
And that stark statement, it extends to happiness, to opportunities, and definitely to success. There is no inherent entitlement. What you truly desire fundamentally requires diligent work and proactive effort.
That's a challenging truth, but it's ultimately liberating too, isn't it? Your life is, at its core, on you. It's your job to make the absolute best of your reality rather than just, passively waiting for external forces, whether that's the government or the economy or just some stroke of luck to intervene. One of the more revealing observations from the material was about how a common sign of someone maybe struggling with self-reflection is that tendency to blame others for their challenges.
Right.
And this isn't just about pointing fingers outward. It's like a deep-seated defense mechanism that actively prevents self-reflection and, crucially, personal growth. If you're constantly blaming others, you're essentially trapping yourself, right? You can't learn from your experiences.
And that's such a critical psychological insight. Highly successful individuals, particularly those who have built immense wealth, they explicitly refuse to blame external factors for their misfortunes. They don't point fingers at the government or market crises or even, their own perceived shortcomings from the start. Instead, they actively and deliberately craft their own lives. There's a powerful statistic reinforcing this from the sources. It states that a staggering 86% of millionaires and billionaires are self-made.
86%.
Yeah. They've built fortunes pretty much from scratch through sheer hard work, relentless learning, and strategic thinking. This directly challenges that common notion that wealth is purely inherited or just accidental.
So it's less about some grand inheritance and much more about heated grit and a strategic approach. What's fascinating here is the consequence of inaction. The sources paint a very stark picture. If you're not building your own life, someone else will hire you to build theirs. That powerfully highlights the immense importance of taking that initiative, defining your own path. And there's this often overlooked paradox of effort as well, isn't there? Failing to focus on growth and taking ownership early on, it often leads to working much, much harder later in life just to stay afloat, basically, with minimal success to show for it. It's almost like running in quicksand, just a perpetual struggle.
That paradox really resonates, yeah. It underscores that upfront investment in yourself. It just yields compounding returns down the line. Which brings us nicely to our next crucial point in mindset, mastering emotions and perception. The insight here is that uncontrolled emotions can be a significant and often invisible barrier to success. Conversely, consciously managing your emotional responses and presenting yourself effectively, well, those are absolutely critical assets that top performers cultivate. The blunt truth, as our source put it, is if emotions control you, you've already lost.
Wow, straight to the point.
Yeah. The world, particularly the world of business and high performance, it operates on efficiency and objective outcomes, and often it simply disregards personal feelings or, emotional outbursts.
It's incredible how often we see irrationality play out just because emotions take the wheel. People frequently make choices that are, well, not in their own best interest when powerful emotions like fury, anger, or even intense love cloud their judgment. A wise person, our sources explain, learns not to suppress emotions entirely, but rather to use them for their benefit, rather than being controlled by them. It's about channeling that energy productively. And this ties directly into how others perceive you. Your appearance, believe it or not, makes a significant difference. People inherently judge based on initial impressions. It's like a deep-seated trait rooted in our evolutionary instincts for health, cleanliness, even social hierarchy. It's not about vanity in the superficial sense, is it? It's more about being taken seriously and commanding respect.
That's a crucial distinction, absolutely. Presentation definitely matters. Knowing the appropriate moments for different attire, from casual wear to what our sources call high-stakes attire, is crucial for how you're perceived in different contexts. Even factors like Mark Zuckerberg, famous for his hoodies, understood the need for a suit for serious occasions like congressional depositions. This highlights that it's about timing, context, and a subtle understanding of the social landscape. Furthermore, a fascinating insight is how others treat you often mirrors how you treat yourself. Your personal growth, your commitment to continuous learning, your dedication to self-improvement. These directly influence external attitudes towards you. When you invest in yourself, others tend to see that value.
And it really boils down to that social mask or presentation you mentioned. Everyone, whether they realize it or not, adopts different masks depending on the social occasion. This isn't necessarily about being like fake. It's often driven by primal survival instincts to be liked, to be accepted, and maybe to subtly further one's own agenda or just fit into a group dynamic. It's a constant, often unconscious negotiation of identity in a social setting.
And this brings us seamlessly to the third pillar of mindset, the power of goals and long-term thinking. Setting clear, measurable goals and adopting a truly future-oriented perspective are absolutely non-negotiable for achieving lasting success. Rich people, our sources explain, don't just idly wish for wealth or opportunities. They set smart goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. An example given is something like, make $1,000 a month from this new project by the end of December. What's critical, though, is the understanding that once a goal is achieved, the ceiling is continually raised. There's no resting on laurels. It's an ongoing process of growth.
I really love that idea of continually raising the ceiling. It keeps you pushing and prevents stagnation, doesn't it? And for decision making, there's that incredibly powerful 10-10-10 rule. When faced with a choice, you ask yourself, how will I feel about this in 10 minutes? Then 10 months, and finally 10 years. This mental model, apparently used by figures like Warren Buffett, provides crucial perspective. Like, imagine you're considering a difficult conversation you've been putting off. How will you feel in 10 minutes? Maybe relieved after you've finally had it. But then, how about in 10 months if that issue has just festered, unresolved? And in 10 years, if that unresolved conflict has permanently damaged a crucial relationship, it immediately reveals whether a decision's immediate gratification or discomfort outweighs its long-term consequences. So simple, yet so profoundly effective.
It truly is a filter for urgency versus importance. And speaking of long-term perspective, our sources indicate it takes between 7 and 10 years to change your life in a truly fundamental way. This emphasizes that success is absolutely a marathon, not a sprint, and consistent action over time is paramount. Without a clear long-term plan and persistent effort, you risk finding yourself years later just repeating the same mistakes, but with, compounding regret. There's also the practical 5-year rule for daily stress management. Ask yourself if what you're stressing about today will still matter 5 years from now. If not, it's simply noise. Get it done quickly and move on. If it will matter, then it's a signal to take it even more seriously and dedicate significant attention to it.
That's a game changer for daily productivity and, honestly, peace of mind. And when you look at billionaires, their perspective is even broader, often viewing life and investments in terms of decades. This enables them to manage incredibly complex outcomes and large-scale projects over extended periods, a stark contrast to those who think in days or months. It's a level of patience most people simply don't cultivate. And unlike the average person who often fails New Year's resolutions by, February? Highly successful individuals set goals and meticulously plan their year based on realistic growth potential and past performance, consistently achieving year after year. It's a systematic approach to progress.
That systematic, long-term approach to planning is precisely what separates them. Which leads us to our final mindset foundation, embracing change and adaptation. In a constantly evolving world, the capacity to adapt, innovate, and stay ahead of change is really a defining characteristic of sustained success. As Stephen Hawking wisely put it, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. This is exemplified by those cautionary tales like Blockbuster, which notoriously failed to adapt when Netflix offered to sell itself to them for, $50 million?
Peanuts in hindsight.
Right. Or Yahoo, which passed on buying Google not once but twice, despite having early opportunities, just massive missed chances.
It's incredible how often resistance to change costs companies and individuals so dearly. Our sources highlight that the world doesn't care about what you're comfortable with. The change is happening relentlessly. Rich individuals anticipate where the puck is going, as they say, actively positioning themselves for future trends, while others remain stubbornly stuck in the past, clinging to outdated methods or industries, and the pace of change is accelerating dramatically. What once might have been a skill relevant for 30 years now might only hold value for about 6 years, maybe even less in some fields. This really underscores the urgent need for continuous upskilling and learning throughout your career. Otherwise, you just become obsolete. Innovation, our sources describe, isn't always about inventing something entirely new from scratch, but often it's the ability to connect the dots of reality in a never before seen way that adds value. It's often about applying existing concepts in novel ways or across different industries, seeing patterns others miss.
And this naturally leads to the brutal realization that playing it safe will not get you to the promised land you've dreamed of.
Hmm.
Calculated risks, where the potential reward genuinely justifies the risk, are absolutely essential for discovering one's true potential and achieving extraordinary outcomes. You simply cannot innovate, adapt, or grow without some level of intelligent risk-taking.
Absolutely. You have to step out of the comfort zone. So, with these foundational mindsets firmly in place, how do we translate that thinking into tangible wealth and actionable result? That's where section 2 comes in. The building blocks of wealth. Strategies and investments. First up is a really crucial yet often misunderstood point. Understanding money. Assets versus liabilities and income versus saving.
This is perhaps the most fundamental distinction for wealth building. Our sources give us a crucial and simple definition. An asset makes you money, while a liability costs you money. Simple as that. Rich parents, unlike perhaps those in poorer households, tend to instill this concept early in their children. They contrast it with the common habit of immediately spending earned money on liabilities. Common traps, for instance, include expensive phones, cars, or maybe designer clothes bought on credit. These drain resources through payments, interest, depreciation, rather than generating any income. Their liability is often mistaken for good purchases because they offer immediate gratification and maybe a sense of status, but at a really high long-term cost.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, isn't it? Thinking you're treating yourself or keeping up with others when in reality you're just digging yourself deeper financially. But here's the billionaire's secret, a real paradigm shift according to the sources. Nobody became a billionaire by saving money. Instead, true wealth is built by constantly increasing income and strategically using existing cash to make more cash. This is a huge shift in perspective from the typical save your pennies advice. Rich people prioritize increasing their income streams and building assets, while many others primarily focus on cutting down expenses. It reflects a fundamental difference in approach. One is expansive, the other often restrictive.
Precisely. And this strategy also ties directly into tax optimization for businesses. Businesses can often legally minimize taxes by strategically reinvesting profits back into the company, because they are taxed on what's left, after all, valid business expenses. This differs significantly from individual taxation, where your income is taxed before you even get to spend it. If a business reinvests all generated profit into growth, new equipment, or research, it can effectively pay zero taxes in a given year. This also highlights a significant pitfall. Spending money before you earn it, especially on non-income generating items, creates a cycle of debt that can prevent any forward financial movement. Borrowing money without it explicitly going toward making more money, for example, maybe for certain non-marketable college degrees that don't lead to high-paying jobs, or worse, for pyramid schemes, is a significant financial trap.
That's a powerful insight into how taxes and debt function differently at different scales and how they can be leveraged or become traps. Okay, let's unpack this next one because it's where things get really interesting and reveal, I think, the true depth of wealthy investment strategies. Strategic investments, but we're going beyond just stocks and bonds here. Wealthy individuals diversify their portfolios with often unconventional, illiquid assets that offer significant appreciation or passive income. And the examples here are truly eye-opening, revealing a world investments most people never even consider.
They certainly are. For instance, consider aged spirits. Rich people frequently buy whiskey by the barrel directly from distilleries, often not even taking physical possession. They just hold the paper. A 20-year-old whiskey can reliably generate, say, 10–15% annual returns, and investment-grade wines have compounded at 10–11% since 1988, frequently outperforming the S&P 500. This is an asset class that appreciates with age, benefits from scarcity, and carries a unique cachet.
I mean, who knew whiskey was an investment class, beyond just something you drink? Amazing. Then there are collectibles. We're talking about rare items like vintage comic books. Our sources mention a Superman #1 that sold for $5.3 million, or rare trading cards, with a Pikachu Illustrator card fetching $5.275 million. And iconic sports memorabilia like Michael Jordan's 1998 NBA Finals sneakers selling for $2.2 million. Even seemingly mundane items like Hummel figurines, if they're rare enough, can fetch up to $5,000 each. However, a strong caution is advised here, right? Demand for collectibles can disappear almost overnight. We saw it vividly with Beanie Babies and maybe more recently certain NFTs. The key seems to be rarity, enduring cultural significance, and a consistent, passionate buyer base.
That's an exceptionally important caveat, yes. It reminds us to approach collectibles with extreme caution and deep market understanding. You can't just jump in. Another significant area for the ultra-wealthy is art. Blue chip art is often considered a billionaire asset and a preferred store of value. Why? Because of its portability, its global demand, and its consistent appreciation over time. Billionaires might buy art in bulk, perhaps lease it to museums for exhibition, or even use it as a kind of bargaining chip in high-stakes negotiations. They often prefer it over holding large sums of cash, which, as we know, loses value to inflation over time. It's an easily movable, high-value asset that transcends national currencies.
Right, it holds value globally. And while real estate is a common path to becoming a millionaire, often accounting for, 35–50% of their net worth, private equity is where billionaires truly make their mark. They derive over 70% of their wealth from owning significant parts of businesses, particularly private companies. This involves investing directly in private companies or buying out struggling ones with the explicit intent to improve and grow them. It's about deep involvement, strategic control, and leveraging operational expertise, not just passive investment like buying stocks.
Yes. The scale and the hands-on involvement are completely different. It's much more active. And then there's emerging markets real estate. Opportunities exist in countries bordering established emerging economies, or maybe those with significant growth potential that are just starting to be recognized on the global stage. Examples given include buying a seaside apartment in Georgia for perhaps $35,000 or hotel rooms in Belize for under $100,000, potentially yielding reliable annual returns of around 12%. It's about spotting where the next wave of development and urbanization will occur before the masses catch on. Requires foresight.
That's a true hidden gem kind of investment if you have that foresight and risk tolerance. And get this, property development square footage. Rich investors often get what our sources call secret deals from developers. They buy square footage in new office or residential buildings at cost before general sales even begin. Developers typically sell about 30% of the building to these private investors early on, using these upfront funds to secure crucial bank loans for the actual construction. Minimum investments can be substantial, maybe $1 million for a projected 110% return over 5 years, or sometimes smaller chunks like $50,000 for 12% annual returns in home developments over maybe 18 months. These are exclusive deals the average person rarely hears about, built entirely on trust and existing relationships within that development world.
Precisely. It's about being in the inner circle of development, having access. And then there's the more straightforward, perhaps, but still highly strategic, land ownership. This investment involves buying raw land, maybe 30–50 kilometers, outside major cities and just holding it, often for around 20 years. As urban populations continue to grow and inevitably expand outwards, developers will seek this land for new housing and commercial projects. They'll often offer to buy it outright or propose attractive profit-sharing development deals. Agricultural land near commercial hubs is also noted as a significant long-term opportunity due to its potential dual utility.
Patience is key there, clearly. Finally, we have two more well-known but still powerful strategies for accumulating and growing wealth. First, hedge funds. These institutions are designed to maximize returns for sophisticated investors through complex strategies, typically requiring substantial minimum investments. We're talking $500,000 to $1 million, sometimes more. They give access to higher-tier financial strategies that just aren't available to the general public. And for a more accessible option, though perhaps less direct for becoming a billionaire yourself, are index funds. This is often described as the set-it-and-forget-it strategy. The S&P 500, for example, has averaged about 9.8% annualized returns over 90 years. Investing $1 million today could conservatively yield, $16.5 million in 30 years through the sheer power of compound interest. It demonstrates a clear and reliable path to generational wealth, even if slower.
This broad range of investment avenues really highlights the diverse approaches to wealth creation, doesn't it? Much more than just stocks. But while all these strategies are fascinating, what's the underlying strategic thinking that allows these opportunities to be leveraged for maximum wealth? This brings us to our next point, the art of business and leveraging resources. True wealth creation, our sources reveal, is ultimately about establishing scalable systems, intelligently leveraging capital and talent, and focusing relentlessly on execution over mere ideas.
What's fascinating here is that making money isn't just about working hard. It's framed as system solving. Value, according to the sources, comes from creating a chain of processes that efficiently transform input into money. Think of a simple lemonade stand. An employee is just a part of the puzzle. They sell the lemonade. Easy enough. But the owner manages the entire system, sourcing lemons, making the lemonade, setting up distribution, marketing, handling sales, managing finances. That owner earns significantly more because they control the entire value chain, the whole system. And a massive, often unspoken secret for reaching billionaire status is the shrewd use of other people's money, or OPM. It's apparently absolutely essential to leverage capital from friends, family, banks, angel investors, rather than relying solely on your own earned income. You can't scale fast enough otherwise.
Indeed. Billionaires typically maintain less than 5% of their vast wealth in liquid assets, believe it or not. They prefer to use their immense holdings, stocks, real estate, businesses as collateral for low interest, often tax-exempt loans to fund new ventures and acquire more assets. This is precisely how someone like Elon Musk could acquire Twitter for billions without having to sell off his Tesla shares directly and incur huge taxes. This is also why ideas are worthless without extended execution. An ideal, no matter how brilliant, acts merely as a multiplier to execution. Even a mediocre idea, if executed exceptionally well and consistently over extended periods, will almost always win against a brilliant idea that is poorly executed or never fully implemented. This is precisely why Google outmaneuvered Yahoo, why Facebook dominated MySpace, and why Starbucks built a multi-billion-dollar coffee empire, not just by having a unique product, but by relentlessly mastering the execution of their business model at scale.
So it's not enough to just have that light bulb moment. You have to run with it relentlessly and ideally flawlessly. Execution is everything, and that leads to the critical importance of moving the needle. It's crucial to focus your energy on actions that directly advance your core goals rather than merely being busy being busy. Lots of activity, no progress. Setting specific deadlines for smaller goals and disciplining yourself to complete them generates immense momentum, creating a kind of snowball effect of progress. Another key strategy is strategic outsourcing. Highly successful individuals apparently go 90 to 100% on their strengths, meaning they identify tasks that are repetitive, time-consuming, or outside their core competencies, and they outsource them to others who can do them efficiently. This frees up their invaluable time for strategic thinking, innovation, and high-leverage growth activities. The key here is finding reliable individuals capable of following instructions, systemizing tasks, and ultimately automating maybe 80% of the business operations.
This level of delegation completely changes the scale of what's possible, and it ties into the often counterintuitive concept of ownership versus control. Our sources argue that owning, say, 15% of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise is far more financially beneficial than maintaining 100% ownership of a smaller, less scalable business. True wealth comes from scale, even if it means diluted ownership in percentage terms. Your slice might be smaller, but the pie is exponentially bigger. And a key insight for billionaires is that the real profit is often made at the point of purchase, not just at the point of sale. This refers to their incredible negotiating power, their access to private deals, and their ability to acquire assets at a significantly lower cost due to their immense scale and influence. They buy value, they don't just sell things.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. Buying right is absolutely paramount, and it leads us to our final building block in this section: smart money management. Taxes and multiple streams. This is all about legally minimizing tax burdens and strategically diversifying income sources as foundational cornerstones of wealth preservation and accelerating growth.
Absolutely. As we touched on earlier, businesses can often achieve what our sources call zero taxes by legally reinvesting all generated profits back into the company itself. By diligently optimizing business expenses, think equipment, research, marketing, salaries, and reinvesting in growth, the amount of taxable profit is significantly reduced or even eliminated entirely for that year. Setting up a corporate structure, even for a single individual operating a business, is presented as an easy and remarkably cost-effective way to optimize personal expenses that are business-related. It allows individuals to legally deduct business-related costs, like potentially private jets used for client meetings, meals with clients, work-related travel. This structural advantage is a major differentiator in how the wealthy manage their financial obligations compared to a typical employee.
It really highlights the stark difference in tax rules for businesses versus individuals, and how those rules can be strategically leveraged if you know how. And then there's the absolute necessity of multiple income streams. While most people rely solely on a single job or salary, individuals aiming for true wealth understand they must establish at least three distinct income streams, ideally more. This mitigates market fluctuations, increases financial security, and provides multiple avenues for compounding growth. You're not reliant on just one thing. A large company, for instance, might strategically earn revenue from advertisements, highly valuable strategic sponsorships, digital courses, branded merchandise, royalties from content licensing, direct video partnerships, and even book sales. This multi-pronged approach ensures remarkable resilience and sustained growth, making the business far less vulnerable to changes in any single revenue source or market shift.
Okay, moving now into Section 3, cultivating personal excellence. Skills and habits. This is about the you factor. Our first point here is the power of self-discipline. This isn't just about willpower, it's the unwavering commitment to consistent action towards long-term goals, regardless of immediate motivation or external circumstances. Our sources put it very simply: success is the sum of small actions repeated over extended periods of time. This unequivocally debunks that myth of overnight success, emphasizing consistency above all else as the true engine of achievement.
I hear that, and I think about how often we're told about overnight successes, but then you dig deeper and find they often have years, even decades, of unseen, grinding work behind them. The definition of discipline here is crucial. It means actively prioritizing tasks directly related to your long-term goals before anything else, even when you don't feel like it or you face a mountain of distractions. You absolutely cannot let a day pass without taking some concrete step, however small, to close the gap between your current reality and your desired future. And there's a practical challenge suggested to develop this foundational self-discipline. Try waking up at the same hour every single day and making your bed immediately for 21 days straight. This small, consistent habit builds profound control over your time and environment, acting as a foundational step to greater self-mastery. Sounds simple, but apparently effective.
It's all about establishing those micro-victories that build powerful momentum. Complementing that is the brilliant 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, just do it immediately. Don't even think about it. This simple rule helps overcome procrastination by building initial momentum, making it much easier to continue beyond the initial 2 minutes or even tackle larger related tasks afterward. And for many high achievers, including well-known figures like Tim Cook and Elon Musk, a key habit is consistently waking up early, often around 5 a.m. This early start allows for dedicated, uninterrupted time for self-improvement, for example, maybe 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of learning, and 20 minutes of planning, all before the rest of the world really begins their day. This consistent early start creates a significant and compounding competitive advantage over time, essentially giving them hours back in their week.
What's fascinating here is how these seemingly small habits, when applied consistently day after day, compound over time to create massive results. It's not about huge leaps, it leads us perfectly into our next point: continuous self-education. In an ever-changing world, ongoing self-education and the relentless acquisition of valuable, marketable skills are paramount, often surpassing the utility and direct return on investment of traditional degrees, according to these sources. They state unequivocally, knowledge is more valuable than money in the long run. It's an investment that translates into higher returns in all aspects of life, not just financially, because it equips you to adapt, innovate, and see opportunities.
And this is abundantly evident in the reading habits of the rich. Successful people read, on average, something like 50 books per year, vastly outstripping the 1.5 books read by the average person. The material suggests there is literally money hidden within the pages of the books they read. Not just information, but actionable insights they actively apply to their lives and businesses. A key book recommendation consistently highlighted is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, described often as a foundational financial book that can profoundly shift one's actions and core beliefs about money, assets, and liabilities.
Yeah, that one comes up a lot. This brings us to a significant critique found in our sources regarding traditional education, though. The current educational system is viewed by some as messed up, particularly with degrees in fields like philosophy, gender studies, journalism, film, media, history, or fine arts. Not to say they aren't valuable fields, but they often lack a direct correlation to immediate marketplace value or existing high-paying jobs. People can incur significant debt for skills that, while personally enriching, may not lead to direct, lucrative employment in today's specific economy. But the power of independent, self-directed learning is presented as immense. Far more practical, monetizable knowledge can often be gained from targeted YouTube videos, online courses, and continuous self-study than from years of traditional schooling in some areas. The internet, in essence, offers a free or low-cost library of value for acquiring immediately useful skills such as advanced Microsoft Excel, graphic design, coding, or social media management.
So true education is redefined here not as a piece of paper, but as what you're left with once the degree is out of the way. It focuses on a practical understanding of how the world actually works, something that has real-world value and allows one to break society down and then navigate it effectively. It moves far beyond rote memorization to applied wisdom and problem solving.
Our next point under cultivating personal excellence is one that might surprise some as a direct investment, but its ROI is undeniably high. Health, appearance, and environment. Prioritizing physical well-being, maintaining a respectable appearance, and optimizing one's living and working environment are presented as absolutely essential investments. They yield significant returns in productivity, confidence, and even how people interact with you socially.
Indeed. Good health, which absolutely includes quality sleep and proper nutrition, is directly linked to high brain capacity and overall productivity. You think better, work better. Investing time and money in learning about and practicing good health habits is critical. It's really an investment in your mental and physical engine. Our sources have a potent quote: "Eat your food as medicine. Otherwise, you'll have to eat medicine as your food." Eating unhealthy consistently is described as just not worth it, as consistent junk food consumption takes a serious compounding toll on the body over years. Healthy eating should be seen as fuel, with treats being occasional indulgences, not the daily norm.
It's about thinking of your body as a high-performance machine that requires premium fuel, right? Not just shoveling anything in. And there are immediate noticeable impacts from simple acts of self-care. Showering daily, for example, not only wakes you up better than coffee sometimes, but it also dramatically improves social interactions because people subconsciously sense cleanliness and care. It matters. Fixing your teeth is another big one mentioned. Yellow or stained teeth are apparently a major turnoff as people instinctively look at your eyes, then your mouth, as part of their initial assessment of you. Getting a regular haircut and getting in shape, even with basic exercises like push-ups and body weight routines done consistently, have an immediate positive impact on how you feel internally and how others perceive you externally.
And this holistic approach extends to your wardrobe as well. The wisdom here is to prioritize quality over quantity and timeless over trendy in clothing. This means investing in a few key, well-fitting, high-quality staples. Think a classic trench coat, a good suit, well-made shoes, rather than accumulating multiple fast fashion items that quickly go out of style or fall apart. These quality items convey professionalism, confidence, and good taste, rather than being swayed by fleeting fashion trends. Furthermore, optimizing your physical environment by organizing your space saves invaluable time, less searching, increases efficiency, and contributes profoundly to feelings of calm, happiness, and even success. Even if you're not a minimalist, an organized environment helps manage the inherent chaos of the world by creating a peaceful inner sanctuary where you can think clearly.
That makes perfect sense. Less clutter around you, less clutter in your head. And here's one I never really thought of as a major investment, but it makes so much sense when you hear it. Your bed. Poor sleep can severely impact your maximum output during the day, dulling your focus, your energy, your decision-making. Investing significantly in a quality mattress, good pillows, and decent linens is deemed a no-brainer, considering you spend approximately a third of your entire life in bed. It's not a luxury. It's a fundamental investment in your daily energy, cognitive function, and long-term health. And for high-return health upgrades, sauna use, for example, is mentioned. It can apparently significantly reduce the risk of cardiovascular events. Studies cited show a 27% reduction for once a week and nearly 50% for 4 times a week by triggering protein repair and binding endorphin receptors. It's a powerful, accessible tool for longevity if you have access.
All these elements demonstrate a truly holistic approach to personal well-being that directly feeds into one's capacity for sustained success and high performance. Our final point in cultivating personal excellence is mastering communication and networking. Effective communication, particularly the high-value skills of selling and negotiation, combined with strategic networking, are seen as incredibly powerful levers for success in all aspects of life. Our sources provocatively state that everything you do in life is a form of selling.
Everything. That's broad.
Well, think about it. From securing a romantic partner to landing a job or even convincing yourself to improve your habits, it's all about effectively persuading others or yourself of the value of an exchange. You're selling an idea, a benefit, yourself.
That's a truly mind-bending way to look at life, seeing every interaction as a form of value exchange. And it's built on a core transaction mindset. People will trade their money for things they find more valuable than the money they just spent. This fundamental principle applies equally to trading your valuable time for money, like in a job, or for a new skill. Understanding this allows for effective sales, but also for rationalizing your own decision processes and negotiations. And while similar, selling focuses primarily on the seller's needs, like making a profit, while marketing primarily focuses on the buyer's needs, like solving a problem or fulfilling a desire. Marketing aims to communicate value to vast audiences, making a product or service desirable as a solution long before the direct sale even happens. It builds the demand.
And the ability to articulate thoughts and feelings clearly, which our sources call verbalization, is absolutely crucial for healthy relationships, be they romantic, professional, or familial. It prevents unresolved issues, unspoken resentments, and those unsatisfactory compromises that can slowly erode bonds over time. Equally important, though, is knowing when to just shut up, listen, and learn from others. This seemingly simple act can provide a significant advantage, keeping you one step ahead by absorbing valuable insights you'd miss if you were always talking. This is precisely where the timeless wisdom of your network is your net worth truly comes into play. Building a robust network of trusted, successful individuals serves as both a vital safety net and a powerful launchpad. These relationships provide invaluable access to funding, resources, contacts, and crucial mutual support, helping to prevent catastrophic failures when things inevitably go wrong.
It's all about who you know, and crucially, who knows you and trusts you enough to help or connect you. The value of connections is immense. Our sources highlight that a single valuable introduction can literally be worth a fortune. One notable example cited is a $2.5 million commission earned for simply arranging a meeting between a commercial developer and a wealthy individual. That's it. It just highlights the immense value placed on reputation and strategic connections in certain circles. Beyond that, actively seeking out successful mentors who have traveled a similar path can provide invaluable guidance, accelerate your success dramatically, and help you avoid costly, predictable mistakes. Forming mastermind groups where smart minds come together to help each other solve creative problems often leads to direct monetary payoffs through collective problem solving, shared insights, and accountability.
And underpinning all of this relationship building is the timeless wisdom of the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. End quote. This principle is presented not just as moral guidance, but as a foundational guide for basic decency, fostering genuinely positive relationships and building what you might call good karma. Essentially, a reservoir of goodwill that can lead to reciprocal help and unexpected opportunities when you least expect it or perhaps need it most.
With those critical personal excellence skills in hand, let's move into Section 4, Navigating the World, Opportunities and Pitfalls. How to apply all this out there. We'll start with how billionaires are truly made according to these sources, identifying high-value problems in industries.
This is really where the biggest fortunes are created. Our sources state unequivocally, solving problems is the quickest way to get rich. Makes sense, right? Value creation. The key, though, is to solve problems with bigger rewards, as the effort required for a $50,000 solution can often be surprisingly similar to the effort required for a $1 million one, or even much larger. Scale matters. Our sources highlight several massive ripe opportunities out there right now. First, a weight loss pill with minimal side effects. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. $80 billion in the U.S. alone, expected to reach $500 billion globally. The demand for a truly safe and effective weight loss pill is enormous, maybe akin to the success of Viagra, which generates $1.5 billion a year in the U.S. The market is just desperate for a real easy solution.
Wow, that's an immense and persistent human problem just waiting for innovation. Huge potential. Next, viable plastic replacements. The current plastic market is worth a staggering $650 billion globally, and the world desperately needs a practical, cheap, and ideally regenerative alternative to traditional petroleum-based plastics. Imagine something truly scalable made from, say, fungus, algae, corn, or hemp that could be mass-produced at a low cost and biodegrade harmlessly. That's a multi-trillion-dollar problem waiting for a revolutionary solution. And then the ultimate holy grail, perhaps, artificial intelligence, AI. Projected to reach $3.9 trillion even back in 2022. AI has the potential to optimize virtually all human problems, from healthcare and logistics to scientific discovery, or, as some controversially argue, maybe even render humans obsolete in certain tasks. It promises to revolutionize farming, bioengineering, and potentially even enable radical life extension or immortality down the road. It touches everything.
It's truly the ultimate disruptor and optimizer. Yeah. Then we have food technology and alternative proteins. Driven by relentless global population growth, rising meat consumption in developing nations, and escalating environmental concerns about traditional agriculture, This industry offers innovative solutions. Think about insect farming, for instance. Insects require vastly less water than traditional meat production, like 2,000 times less land, produce significantly less waste, and are often 80% edible, making them a remarkably sustainable future for global nutrition. It might sound unconventional to some now, but the numbers and environmental imperatives are incredibly compelling for the future. Another major frontier for immense wealth is space exploration and commercial travel. Seen by some as the next pit stop for the rich, this is being fueled by rapid advancements in reusable rockets and more efficient propulsion systems. Space holds vast untapped resources, such as rare earth elements essential for technology, and water ice on celestial bodies like the moon and asteroids. This demands significant infrastructure development and opens up entirely new economies.
Speaking of new frontiers, virtual and augmented reality, VR/AR, is experiencing rapid technological advancements, enabling incredibly immersive experiences across gaming, healthcare, education, remote work, and entertainment. Figures like Palmer Luckey, who founded Oculus and sold it to Facebook, and Tim Sweeney of Epic Games, Fortnite, have already become billionaires in this space, and the technology is arguably still in its relative infancy. Huge growth potential. And the potential for internet for everybody is simply immense. With over half the world still unconnected, the internet's current value is estimated at maybe $20 trillion, but with immense untapped potential once truly global access is achieved. Companies like Meta, Facebook with their experimental electric planes, Google with their high-altitude balloons, Project Loon, though maybe shelved, and Elon Musk, Starlink, and Richard Branson, OneWeb with their satellite constellations are all racing to bridge this digital divide, recognizing the enormous economic and social value it unlocks.
That truly levels the playing field globally in many ways and opens up vast new markets for everyone online. And then, there are some perhaps more unique, often overlooked niches highlighted. Sex robots. Our sources describe a projected $30 billion industry in pursuit of advanced, lifelike sex robots, think Westworld or Ex Machina style, leveraging breakthroughs in animatronics, 3D printing, and sophisticated artificial intelligence. This will inevitably open entirely new niches for accessories, software, companion services, and perhaps even ethical debates. Another seemingly niche but incredibly high-demand area is hair regeneration. The existing $9 billion global hair transplant industry clearly indicates a massive demand for effective non-surgical solutions. Think creams, laser treatments, or new drug therapies that could actually reverse balding. This appeals directly to the universal human obsession with appearance and maintaining youthfulness. Huge market.
And perhaps the most ambitious problem of all, literally tackling the ultimate human limitation, solving death and mortality. Titans of industry like Larry Ellison, Oracle, and Peter Thiel, PayPal, Palantir, are among those investing heavily in longevity research and biotech startups in this space. Viewed by them not as inevitable, but as a disease that can potentially be cured or significantly delayed, potential solutions include breakthroughs in organ printing, re-engineering organs from more durable materials, cellular rejuvenation, and ultimately perhaps paving the way for artificial bodies or digital consciousness as a major future industry. Wild stuff. Finally, the perennial luxury industry generates immense wealth due to its exceptionally high profit margins and an unwavering demand for exclusivity and status symbols. Consumers willingly pay a significant premium for brands, craftsmanship, and unique experiences, leading to immense wealth accumulation for industry leaders like Bernard Arnault of LVMH. And EdTech, which combines the massive global demand for education with technology's inherent scalability, offers accessible, high-quality learning resources globally. It's already turned founders like those from Byju's and Coursera into billionaires by democratizing knowledge and skills training.
Okay, so while identifying these high-value opportunities is clearly crucial for massive wealth creation, it's equally, if not more, important to know what to actively avoid, where the traps lie. This brings us to our next point. Avoiding common traps and wasted resources. Recognizing and actively circumventing common pitfalls, particularly those involving the wasteful expenditure of precious time and money, is absolutely crucial for financial and personal advancement.
It's really about self-awareness and maybe some brutal honesty with yourself, isn't it? Our sources are very direct here. Many people struggle with time-wasting distractions. They often watch a lot of TV, be it reality TV, endless celebrity gossip, or maybe even sports as pure escapism, spending countless hours on activities that offer, frankly, no value to your life in terms of growth instead of focusing on personal development or productive pursuits. While the sentiment time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time might hold true for genuine relaxation or hobbies, it's presented here as a rare exception, not a sustainable rule for productivity and achieving big goals. And then there's gambling and addictions. wasting money on lotteries, with regular players potentially spending upwards of $5,000 annually with almost zero chance of return, or sinking money into in-app game purchases like Fortnite skins or Candy Crush. Lives these generate millions daily but waste colossal amounts of time and mental energy for the user. Addictive habits like smoking or vaping can cost over $2,292 annually for just a pack-a-day habit, draining both financial and vital personal resources that could be invested much more wisely elsewhere.
And this isn't just about the money lost directly. It's about the insidious drain on your mental energy, your focus, and ultimately your potential. It saps your drive. Another trap mentioned is spending money on false health solutions, think miracle teas or those quick fix exercise gimmicks like shake weights, instead of taking personal ownership of your health, which means committing to fundamental dietary changes and consistent, proven physical activity. This not only wastes money, but fosters a dependency on external, often ineffective solutions rather than building internal discipline and real habits. Furthermore, many people get caught in the paralysis of procrastination and overthinking, endlessly stuck in what-if scenarios, constantly waiting for the perfect time or opportunity that, of course, never truly arrives because perfection doesn't exist. This leads to a persistent, frustrating lack of progress. Decisiveness and action, even imperfect action, are highlighted as absolutely critical here. Just start.
That's a huge one for so many people that fear of imperfect action keeps them stuck. And then there's the strategic and emotional drain of inauthenticity. Being fake or pretending to be someone you're not, particularly amplified maybe on social media, is just not worth it in the long run. It's an illusion that wastes immense effort, saps your energy, and ultimately leads to profound disappointment, as genuine happiness and sustainable success truly come from authenticity and alignment with your true self and values. And it extends to settling in relationships and jobs. Remaining in jobs that cause genuine misery or staying in relationships purely out of convenience or fear of being alone is strongly discouraged by these sources. Life is simply too short to settle for unhappiness. The sources urge individuals to actively seek situations, careers, relationships that truly bring fulfillment and light a fire inside.
And finally, a very personal but critical pitfall: fake friends. Our sources provide clear warning signs to help identify them. Friends who consistently ridicule your ambitions or put down your efforts at self-improvement. Friends who engage only in superficial conversations and never deep vulnerability. Friends who you suspect would abandon you instantly for better opportunities. Friends who reveal your secrets or gossip behind your back. Friends who actively tempt you toward bad habits you're trying to break. Or friends who consistently ask for help but are never there when you need support in return. Your inner circle, especially discerning family members who know you well, can often detect these toxic behaviors before you fully recognize them yourself. Recognizing and pruning these draining relationships is presented as vital for your emotional and strategic well-being.
That's a powerful distinction for who you let into your inner circle and who truly adds value versus drains energy. Which leads us beautifully to our final point in this section: building a supportive network. Actively cultivating a strong network of quality individuals who offer genuine support, invaluable guidance, and mutual benefit is presented as a critical strategy for navigating challenges and dramatically accelerating success.
This cannot be overstated, really. Surrounding yourself with individuals who will genuinely push you forward, challenge you constructively, and actively open new pathways for you is absolutely essential. Finding a successful mentor, for instance, is often described as being akin to having a GPS on the road to riches, or whatever your goal is. Mentors, having navigated similar paths successfully, can provide invaluable guidance, accelerate your success by sharing hard-won lessons so you don't repeat their mistakes, and help you avoid common, costly failures. They are often surprisingly willing to help those who prove themselves committed, coachable, and worthy of their precious time. You have to earn it. Additionally, mastermind groups are formalized forums where smart minds come together to help each other solve creative problems, often with direct monetary payoffs or business breakthroughs resulting from collective problem solving, shared insights, and mutual accountability.
That's a brilliant way to leverage collective intelligence and diverse experience. And despite potential disagreements or the occasional family drama, family is often the most reliable and unwavering source of support, willing to go further for you than almost any friend might. Maintaining these core relationships and fostering open communication with parents and siblings is seen as crucial for a strong foundational support system. True friendships, as we touched on earlier, are built on vulnerability, mutual respect, and unwavering trust. So again, be wary of those who only engage in superficial conversations, are quick to spill secrets, try to sabotage your self-improvement efforts, or consistently operate on a one-way street of asking for help without offering it in return. Our sources also note that early positive socialization, learning how to connect well with others from a young age, can create a massive snowball effect, leading to better job opportunities and stronger, more authentic friendships throughout life.
What's fascinating here is how rich and successful people tend to naturally gravitate towards each other, forming robust networks where they can openly share similar struggles. Yes, they have them too. Offer practical advice based on experience and create a collective safety net for one another. This provides crucial access to funding, unique resources, valuable contacts, and a powerful sense of shared purpose and understanding. This forms a kind of self-reinforcing ecosystem of support and opportunity rather than a purely competitive free-for-all. And once again, that timeless principle of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is presented as a fundamental guide for basic decency, fostering genuinely positive relationships and building that good karma. It's a foundational principle for long-term relational wealth, which is arguably as important as financial wealth.
We've covered a lot about how to think, how to build wealth, and how to strategically navigate the world, the mindset, the strategies, the habits. Now for our final section, perhaps the most profound of all, conclusion. A meaningful life beyond riches. We'll start with understanding the purpose of wealth itself.
Right, because while money undeniably provides options and freedom, true fulfillment and lasting happiness, as our sources consistently emphasize, derive from a life aligned with purpose, core values, and impactful contribution. It requires recognizing the inherent impermanence of purely material possessions. The material states that money, fame, and success are simply tools which you can use to become anything you want. Money buys options. It frees you from financial constraints and allows you to say yes or no to opportunities based on genuine choice rather than being forced by necessity or desperation. That's immense power.
That's a powerful idea. Money as a tool for ultimate choice and personal freedom. And it's crucial to remember that money doesn't directly buy happiness. That's a cliche, but true. But it can absolutely buy positive experiences, travel, learning, helping others, and crucially, free up your time for meaningful pursuits and relationships. The value of mere possessions is temporary. Things don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things in the long run. A person, the sources argue, is not defined by what they own, but by the values they embody, the ideas they cultivate, the relationships they nurture. True richness lies in cultivating profound thoughts, innovative ideas, and meaningful connections, perhaps using money as a tool to become a more complex person with deeper experiences and understanding. The highest goals our sources identify are living a life that means something deeply to you personally, and ideally, one that actively adds value to the world beyond yourself.
And this ties into a profound concept called the overview effect, which is fascinating. Astronauts who observe Earth from the vantage point of space often experience a profound and permanent shift in perspective. They realize the utter insignificance of many daily human struggles and conflicts when viewed from that vast cosmic scale. This overview effect can make individuals reevaluate their worries, their priorities, fostering an overwhelming sense of interconnectedness, fragility, and a laser-like focus on what truly matters. Humanity, the planet, shared purpose. It's like seeing all your petty daily stresses shrink to almost nothing as you look down at the entire beautiful, fragile planet, realizing the immense interconnectedness and fragility of life and what truly matters on that grand scale.
Which brings us to our final and arguably most impactful point, living a life of impact. Beyond personal accumulation and individual success, the ultimate expression of human flourishing involves contributing to collective progress and making a tangible, positive impact on the world, especially recognizing the finite nature of our individual lives. It's a powerful call to action that transcends mere financial gain, isn't it?
Indeed. And it's noted that the bulk of all innovation in the history of mankind was financed by the wealthy. Whether through direct investment, philanthropy, or patronage, they often drive progress, from modern medicine developed by pharmaceutical companies funded by investors to technological advancements that push the boundaries of what's possible. And beyond that strategic investment and progress, a deeper personal truth emerges. Genuine happiness occurs when you give without expecting anything in return. Altruistic behavior, our sources explain, releases endorphins, leading to that profound helper's high, and numerous scientifically proven health benefits like lower blood pressure and reduced stress. Giving is literally good for you. There's even a widespread belief, almost a spiritual or karmic principle mentioned, that the universe gives more to those who are willing to give it away, suggesting that increasing charitable giving can paradoxically open new levels of wealth and opportunity, perhaps through expanded networks, reputation, or just a shift in mindset. Even a small percentage of income, like the example given of 4.16%, representing half a month's salary per year, can have an incredible emotional and practical impact, both on the recipient and significantly on the giver's sense of purpose and well-being.
That's a beautiful way to connect generosity with personal growth and even potentially greater opportunity, creating a kind of virtuous cycle. And finally, a stark but incredibly motivating truth that runs through these sources. Everyone you know will die eventually, including yourself. This reality check is presented as a powerful motivator to appreciate what you have right now, today, to mend relationships that truly matter, to avoid holding on to grudges that only weigh you down. The sources directly challenge us. You will die one day, so why on earth would you want to live a boring life? You should do whatever it is in your power to create the life you want to live because you only get this one. This calls for the proactive, perhaps audacious pursuit of desired experiences, meaningful goals, deep relationships. It urges you to essentially create your own heaven on earth, to make life meaningful for yourself and those around you, irrespective of any beliefs about an afterlife. Live fully now. So you've taken this deep dive with us, exploring this really multifaceted journey of wealth, success, and ultimately profound personal fulfillment. It's clear from all this that true richness extends far, far beyond just bank accounts. It encompasses a resilient mindset, strategic action, and a deep commitment to continuous growth and meaningful contribution.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how often the brutal truths about life's impermanence, about the potential insignificance of many daily struggles when seen from afar, actually circle back to become the most profound reasons for pursuing a life of purpose and impact. This raises an important question for you, our listener, to maybe reflect on. Given that your time is finite, and many of the urgent problems you face today genuinely won't matter in 5 years, maybe even 5 months, what single decisive action will you choose to take, starting now, starting today, to either deeply appreciate those who truly matter in your life or to relentlessly pursue creating the life you genuinely desire? Because as we've seen woven through these insights, dying poor has to do with choice. Not just financially poor, but poor in experience, in connection, in purpose. What choice will you make today after hearing all this?
We hope this deep dive has provided you with more than just information, but maybe with a spark for actionable change in your own life. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep challenging yourself to build the life you truly envision.